Hello everyone and welcome to today's online course on SCIP database and its implication on substances in articles. My name is Miraç and I am Turkey Business Coordinator and Regulatory Researcher at Global Product Compliance Group, connecting with you all from the GPC headquarters in Sweden. First, I'd like to introduce today's speaker, Mr. Shiran Put. He is the Chief Technology Officer, CTO, at GPC India. Mr. Shiran has extensive experience in chemical regulatory compliance, in particular EU REACH regulation. He also has vast knowledge of various software that involves technical dossier preparation such as Euclid, QSAR Toolbox, EPI Suite, ToxTree, etc. He is also involved in designing compliance solutions for worldwide regulations such as Korea REACH, Turkey REACH, UK REACH, China REACH, etc. Before I hand over the virtual podium to the presenter, I'd like to take this opportunity to also introduce who we are. Global Product Compliance is a company that specializes in global regulatory compliance solutions. We started providing regulatory services in 2008. Since then, we have become one of the leading regulatory compliance service providers in the world. In May this year, Sustainable Support Services, SSS, a familiar name in chemical regulatory and compliance services, is acquired by GPC Holdings Sweden, and thus underwent a name change to GPC Europe AB. Since it is only a company name change with no change in legal entity, therefore the business remains as usual, but now under the name of GPC Europe. As you can see from the organizational chart here, GPC has two parts, that is, GPC Regulatory and GPC Analytics. GPC Regulatory has several divisions including GPC UK, Turkey, India, Europe, Sweden, Korea, and Russia. Under GPC India, we have 3 branch offices. On GPC Analytics, we have laboratories in Sweden and India. A little bit more about our profile. Since 2008, we have managed a portfolio of more than 9,000 substances, have a client base of more than 1,000 happy clients with a 99% retention rate. We have registered more than 1,200 substances, and we also have experience in lead registration and consortia management of more than 400 substances. We also have extensive experience in pre-registration and notification within chemicals and cosmetic regulations. Recently, we developed a portal called Supply Chain Communication Portal, and this portal has been used by more than 4,000 users, including suppliers, buyers, and ORs. Our regulatory services include Indian CMSR, EU REACH, K-REACH, Eurasia and Turkey REACH, and UK REACH and Taiwan's TCCSA compliance. Our services also cover chemicals regulations in the USA, Canada, Australia, Thailand, China, Japan, and Brazil, as well as cosmetic regulations in the EU, India, and the United States. You can know more about us and our services on our website, gpcgateway.com. Lastly, I would like to introduce our website's latest feature called Regulatory Compliance Intelligence Portal. You can register a free account on this portal and access global regulatory intelligence for different regulations, access actionable summaries for different regulations, generate service requests for your substance, and manage all business details like codes, agreements, etc. in one place. Please note that this feature is still in beta version and many more updates will come soon. For those of you just joining us, welcome. We will have a live Q&A session at the end of the webinar where our Executive Director, Mr. Shishir Kumra, will also join us. For this, we have enabled the chat box feature. It is on the right-hand side of your screen in the auditorium. If you have any questions, just pop them in there. Now, I'll hand over to Mr. Shiran Put to give us a presentation on SCIP database and its implications on substances and articles. Mr. Shiran, the floor is yours.
Yes, thank you. Can I share my desktop now?
Yes, due to technicalities, just in a second.
Yeah. So thank you, Mira, for this introduction, and very good afternoon, all of you. My name is Srirang Booth again. I'll be presenting on SCIP database and its implication on substances in articles. So the topics covered during today's technical presentation will be the introduction to SCIP database, what are the objectives and milestones, what is notification and the obligations, the users of the database, information requirements, SCIP prototype, and some take-home messages. So SCIP database stands for substances of concern in articles, such as such or in complex products. So it is established under the Waste Framework Directive. So Waste Framework Directive set out measures addressing the adverse impact of the generation of and management of the waste on the environment and human health, and for improving efficient use of resources which are crucial for the transition to the circular economy. So as a part of implementation of the EU's action plan for the circular economy adopted in 2015, the revised Waste Framework Directive entered into force in July 2018. Within this, the companies that are producing, importing, or supplying articles containing the substances of very high concern needs to submit the information to the database of these articles from 5th January 2021. So what does article means within the regulation? Article means an object which during its production given a special shape, surface, design which determines its function to a greater degree than does its chemical composition. So article could be a breaker, wheel, or it could be a complex article such as bike, car, etc. So substances of very high concern is the list, candidate list for authorization, which has been published by European Chemical Agency twice in a year. So this list currently has 209 substances which are identified as substances of very high concern, and this list keep on increasing from time to time. So all article manufacturer needs to keep a track of substances of very high concern, and they need to see if their article contains any of these substances of very high concern. So what is the objective and milestones of this SCIP database? So main objective is to support the circular economy, prevent the waste being generated, and reduce hazardous substances in materials and products. So this SCIP database ensures that whatever information on the articles containing the HUHC substance will be communicated throughout the life cycle of the product and also at the waste stage. It is important for the waste operator to have this information available so that they will be able to segregate the waste properly, as well as this information should be made available to the consumer so that consumer knows whatever article they are buying, it does contain substances of very high concern. So basically SCIP database has been announced in autumn 2019 at the workshop at ECHA, and a SCIP prototype has been launched on 17 Feb 2020. The actual final database will be launched by end of October 2020, and the obligation for putting the substance in article has to check whether it contains HUHC or not by 5th January 2021. So the obligations to notify will actually start from 5th January 2021. So any article which will be put into European market, if it contains HUHC, it has to be notified before putting it into European market or 5th Jan 2021, whichever is the earlier date. So what is the obligation? Obligation will be for notification. So SCIP notification covers all articles placed on EU market containing substances of very high concern, which are onto the candidate list of authorization, and the concentration should be above 0.1% weight by weight of the article. This is irrespective of the quantity or the tonnage of the article, but if the article contains HUHC above 0.1% weight by weight, then the notification obligation is applicable to the SCIP database, and it has to be done before 5th January 2021 or before putting the article into the European market by the deadline after 5th January 2021. So who has to comply? Who has the obligation for notification? So Waste Framework Directive being the European regulation, obviously the European producers and assemblers has the primary obligation. The European importers, European distributor of articles, and other actors in supply chain placing articles onto the market has the obligation. It also allows the third parties to submit the data on your company's behalf based on the intra-party agreement, and this is called as foreign user concept. So this can be used by if there are several companies who are having a group company as a mother company, some other company can do the notification on behalf of different users. In case of non-European also, there is a possibility they can appoint a European legal entity based in Europe, and that can act as a foreign user to do the notification. The retailers, other supply chain actors supplying the articles directly or exclusively to the consumers. So any article which is directly going to the consumers through retailers are exempted from the notification obligation. In this case, the importers is the primary entity who needs to do the notification. So after the notification, who will be the user of this database? So primary user of the database will be the waste treatment operators and consumers. So waste treatments will, this database will help them to understand what kind of an article it is, what kind of an HVAC is present into the article, so that the waste separation and recycling process can be reorganized. Simultaneously, consumers, like putting the information on the consumer product with informing that it contains substances of area concern, gives a choice to the consumers to buy and make an informed choices. So this is basically add on pressure or increase pressure on the article supplier to substitute the HVAC substances. And obviously the member state authorities who can also use this database to improve their understanding of substances of concern in certain products and adopt their waste reduction and treatment policies at national level. So authorities are further trying to simplify this data submission. So first point is by allowing the third parties to submit the data on your company's behalf based on the intra-party agreements. So foreign user concept has been introduced by the authorities. Authorities are also working on defining how to reuse the data submitted by the supplier. So if any supplier who has already done the notification to ECHA, so further downstream user of that particular supplier can either do a simplified notification or he can have a choice of referencing. So simplified notification, who can do the simplified notification is basically if the article is not changed, the duty holder can benefit from the simplified notification. So duty holder who is buying the article and supplying the article directly to other suppliers or further downstream users, then they can just do a simplified notification without actually preparing the dossier. Whereas the articles which has been already notified by the supplier is further incorporated into a complex object, such as an assembler who has already bought a part of an article which has been notified by the supplier. He can do the referencing. This will be done by the alphanumeric identifier which will be provided by ECHA. So the work is going on for simplified notification as well as referencing, and the actual database will be available by end of October 2020. This will be further analyzing how to make the data available to the waste operator and consumers. So currently authorities are doing that, and the prototype is primarily that for helping and understanding the industry's requirement so that authorities can analyze the data and help the waste operators and consumers in such situation. So what are the different information requirements? So any article, it will have two types of data that needs to be submitted. First will be the administrative data, the legal entity information, which will be based European based information, and the SCIP dossier obviously. And second will be the technical data, which will have the concern of the concern elements such as candidate list and further article details. So these two data will combine together form a dossier which will further go to the European Chemical Agency for submission and getting the SCIP notification number. So information requirements within article. First is the primary information, that is article identification information. So here in this slide I have differentiated the text of the slide into 3 different colors. So red is the mandatory information which needs to be given, yellow is required information for a successful submission, and the black text information is optional. So article name is important and primary article identifier is important, such as catalog number, GST number, GTIN number, EN number. These are different European article numbers or the part numbers which can be selected from the drop down from the standard template. Then article category is important. So TERIC code or CN code is important. So production in EU, if production is in EU, then the categorization information about the production in EU also needs to be given for the successful submission. Also, it is recommended to give the picture, dimension, color, weight of the article so that it is easily it can be easily identified and can be correlated with the article name. So this is the identification information about the article. Further, safe use instruction also needs to be given. Here I have again given the information in yellow text. So how to give the safe use instruction? Either it can be given by giving the instruction into free text, or there could be an option to select that no need to provide the safe use information beyond identification of the candidate list substance, because it is not mandatory to give that much information, because it is further disassembling is not possible for that article, or disassembling instruction also needs to be given about the article so that the safe use instruction can be correlated with the disassembling instructions of the article. If the article is going into a complex object, or the article is from the complex object component. So here I have tried to share an example of a complex object 1 which has article A, article B, which has been combined together with an article F. So these are the 3 different units, and for each individual unit it is important to give the information in case of complex object. So article B supplier might also do the notification. He will give the same information like the article name, other name, primary article identifier, other identifier, article category, production in EU details, characteristics of article B, picture, dimension, color, weight, and safe use instruction along with the disassembling instruction. And the simplified notification in this case for the complex object 1 will be like he can do the referencing, where the article B supplier has already done the notification. He can give the notification number to complex object 1 person, and he can do the notification for only article A and article F. So in this case article B has already been covered by the supplier. So this is how the primarily complex object or the complex articles will work. Then further information regarding the concern elements. So the name and the further details about the candidate list substance needs to be given. What is the concentration range of that HVHC present into the article, that also needs to be given. It has to be more than 0.1% weight by weight and less than or equal to 100% weight by weight. Further material category or the mixture category needs to be given. So there is a European Union product categorization system based on which the mixture category or the material category needs to be selected. So these are the standard phrases which will be used or the given by authorities, which can be used by the notifier, and then additional material characteristics needs to be given. So while giving the category information, in case of EU registration, you might have already seen how the use descriptors are given. Like there is a product category PC, process category PROC, or environmental release category ERC. Same type, there will be the mixture category and material category, wherein you will be given a choice to select which category perfectly matches with your article, and then that can be chosen and fixed for your article related information. This slide is little bit not clearly visible, but I want to cover the whole information about the dossier into single slide, so I have done this. But my next slides will further divide these slides, and you can have more information available in my next slides, like what is covered into the complete picture. So this gives the complete picture where it talks about the article related information as well as the HVHC or the substances of very high concern substance related information. And this whole information needs to be clubbed together into dossier, which goes to further to European Chemical Authority for the submission onto the portal. So again, article related information is article identification, article category, safe use instruction, disassembling instruction. If it is a complex object, then component details about that complex object. Then what is the concern element, which is the HVHC substance present into your article. What is the CAS number, EC number, IUPAC name of that HVHC. What is the mixture category or the material category of the HVHC. This whole information clubbed together into the dossier goes to authority. Then you receive a submission number, and after successful submission you receive a skip notification number, which is tagged with the European legal entity who has done the notification for that particular article. So now this is further division of my previous slide. So it talks about article identification details. It has to be article name. Again, asterisk means you have, this is the mandatory information that is required within the skip notification database dossier. So article name is important, primary article identifier, production in EU, height, length, width, diameter, density, weight, volume of that particular article. Other names if available, article identifier, other article identifier if available. If it has certain specific number or identification name, that also needs to be given. Picture of the article is also important to give. Then safe use instruction, disassembly instruction, that is mandatory. Now coming to the candidate list, I mean the substances of very high concern details, link to the candidate list substance, concentration range, candidate list substance, how long it is present, what is the substance name, CAS number, EC name, IUPAC name, concentration ranges, mixture category, material category, whatever is applicable in your particular article case, then safe use of instruction, and then obviously the legal entity details such as European legal entity, name, address of the person who is doing the notification on your behalf. And the dossier, when once goes to the authorities, then you receive the submission number, and at the end of successful submission you receive the skip notification number along with the skip notification date. So these both number as well as date is very important while doing the notification, so that authorities will know that you have complied with the notification obligation within the date of putting the article into the European market. So either you have to do it before putting into the market or before 5th January 2021, because that's a date for compliance for skip notification. I have just tried to give an example. It's a more elaborate example where we are talking about a complex article such as car. A car again, further content, further complex articles such as engine, and engines have an O-ring. This is an example for O-ring, where O-ring contains an HVHC, which is mentioned as 1,2-benzene dicarboxylic acid di C6,8 branch alkyl esters C7 rich. So this is the name of HVHC which is present into an O-ring which goes into engine, and this engine further goes into car, which is a final article which is going to the consumer. So this O-ring has to be notified. The HVHC present into O-ring needs to be notified. So what all information will be given about the O-ring? The article name is O-ring. There is a brand name, the model number, and the picture obviously of the O-ring, the primary article ID, catalog number, size, the diameter, weight, which is the characteristics of the O-ring, the article category as per the CN code or TERIC code. This code number can be received through the searching the article category into database available on the European Chemical Agency site. And then production is obviously not in European Union. It has been supplied through non-European countries, so they have mentioned no. And then so safe use instruction needs to be given along with the details about the candidate list. So this is the first version of 2021. 2020, the CAS number, IUPAC name, EC number of the HVHC. So concentration range is more than or equal to 1% and less than 10% weight by weight. And the material category is obviously rubber and elastomers, which is further chosen from the standard database. So this is the standard information requirement about the O-ring, which needs to be submitted to the authorities via the SCIP notification database, so that whenever any car lands up into the scrap, the engine lands up into the scrap, the waste operators will know that this engine contains an O-ring which has an HVHC more than 0.1%, and this needs to be further addressed while managing the waste related to O-ring. So currently the SCIP prototype is available with the authorities, wherein the European legal entity needs to create an ECA account. They need to prepare a dossier into Euclid format, and then it has to be submitted further to the further on ECA portal, where the submission first goes for the validation check and the submission number receives, and once the successful submission is done, the SCIP notification number will be received. So this is in brief the SCIP database overview, how it looks. So database has to be submitted by duty holders. Obviously it will have the duty holder details when they sign up on the European Chemicals Agency's web portal, or the only representative, the European legal entity who is acting on behalf of third parties, they need to create a online account with their European legal entities, and the dossier needs to be further created into different formats. Could be into Euclid format or could be into private XML format, which further goes to the authorities via submission tool. They validate, and after successful submission, the SCIP notification has been received and the information is collected at SCIP database. This information is further provided to the waste operator as well as consumers who are in and the other interested parties to manage whatever the substances of high concern which are coming into the European Union along with the articles. So this is very important for all article manufacturer. Every article, anything like pen, pencil or a cloth, everything qualifies as an article which is going into European Union. They need to comply with this SCIP notification if their article contains the substances of very high concern. So primarily for every supplier, it is mandatory to do an assessment of their article, whether their article contains HVHC or not. So this assessment needs to be done initially, and if there is a possibility of HVHC into your article, then further notification requirements needs to be identified. So before concluding, some take-home messages from this presentation is: know your portfolio of articles or the complex objects, start collecting the information, and start preparing an inventory of the information, whatever information about the article, what all chemicals or what all details which are going into that article that needs to be compiled. Get familiar yourself with the SCIP database, and then you should start exploring and reading about the SCIP database. Identify a key competent person within the organization who can take responsibility for doing this information, or you can identify a competent consultant who can help you out while compiling this information. Then very importantly, do the initial screening of the material for HVHC presence, because it is mandatory for every article producer to do this HVHC assessment of their article. And if your article contains an HVHC, then identify what is the concentration of HVHC present in your article, and then prepare the information for doing the submission, and then maintain records, because HVHC list changes every year. it gets modified every year. So there are new chemicals which will be identified as HVAC. So it's not a one-time activity. You have to keep a track of all HVAC which are coming into European Chemical Agency site. You have to follow that list and keep your article related information up to date, and your skip notification information up to date. So currently today your article may not have HVAC, but you never know, the future list might have some article which is going into your future list might have some chemical which is going into your article. So you have to keep a track of your of the chemicals which are going to HVAC, so that you are not missing the train and you are not going to be non-compliant in this scenario. So start collecting the information and get ready yourself for the skip database notification. If you have any queries related to skip notification, you can always free to write to me or anybody from our organization, and we'll just try to help you out with your questions. We'll try to answer all your questions. Now coming into the Q&A session. If you are missing the questions, you can please feel free to contact me anytime, and then we can discuss your queries one-to-one if required. Thank you very much for patiently listening, and now we can go to Q&A session where I'll be available along with Mr. Shishir Kumra to answer all your queries related to skip notification. Please feel free to write your queries, and we are here to answer. And we are here to help you out in resolving all your technical queries related to compliance requirements. Thank you very much.